So just to say, I don't want to sound like a jerk. I'm not trying to take your money, but I've made hundreds of videos here, right, for free. And I'm at the point where I'm actually in prison. This is what I've been working up for this whole time. And I've put all my money into this initial sentencing, and it was cut down in half because I had to upgrade to a luxury cell. And we're running out of time, okay? I made a bunch of videos when I was shackled at home. I've done a lot of content, okay? And obviously thousands of people like this content because I have thousands of subscribers. So I'm just not understanding why it's equating from thousands of people watching my videos and clearly enjoying them and on some level, whether they're listening to me blather on about my imprisonment or they're just want to look at my bare feet in shackles. And both of those are fine. I'm perfectly happy with that. I mean, that's why I do so much motion and stuff, because I'm catering to people that just want to see feet. And that's fine. I'm happy to have you here. Thank you. But this can't go on forever, right? So I'm in prison right now, and these are the last videos I'm ever going to make, right? When I leave the prison, I'm deleting my YouTube channel. I'm deleting my blog, because at that point, I'm going to move on with my life. And I don't want somebody I'm working with 5 years from now finding this blog and sharing it around the office, right? So these are going to go away when I'm out of prison. And I'm not going to make any more because I'll be past this period in my life. So my goal here is to extend my imprisonment as long as possible, right? I'm going to make these videos until I'm released. If you want to see these videos, whether you give a shit about my imprisonment, the story bit behind it, or what I did that day, I don't care. It doesn't matter, right? If you like these videos for anything, right? Maybe you like the blue color on that wall, and that's why you're watching this video right now. If you want to see more blue color, you need to go to patreon.com/facility5 and sign up. It's only $5, literally. You could walk down the street and ask 10 people probably if they would give you $5, and you'll probably get one of them to give you $5, and you're a complete stranger, right? So it's really not that much money. And I don't want to sound like a jerk, and I apologize if I'm coming across this. I don't want to be kicked out of my home, and this is my home now. My ex-girlfriend, has moved on. She's got a new slave girl, a really cute girl. She's got her chained up in my shackles, riveted on, just like I started. She's on the same contract I was on with her, and there's no room for me there anymore. She's already moved on. She owns my house because of the power of attorney and everything, and she's saying that when I get out of prison, I need to find another place to live. We're not together anymore, right? And she's not going to leave the house, so I'm going to be homeless, okay? Well, I mean, it isn't going to happen tomorrow or the next day, or, I have some time, and I don't know exactly what time that is because I'm really paranoid about being kicked out. And if I have a number in my head, then I'm going to be focusing on that number and worrying about it. And the whole point of imprisonment is to get away from the outside worries, right? I just want to live as a prisoner and do the things that prisoners do. And that's what I'm doing. So, and that's what I'm trying to do. And if you're interested in that, then hopefully you have a vested interest in keeping it going, right? I haven't even shown my entire cell yet. I mean, we have a long ways to go here. There's a lot I can still show you. There's a lot I can talk about. And then eventually, this is the primary goal, is to get prisoner interviews. So that'll be a whole nother thing. That'll be a whole nother show, right? Interviewing other prisoners, seeing their filthy, shackled bare feet, if that's what your thing is, and that's good. You'll be seeing other feet on this channel. You'll be, if you care about the story and about the imprisonment, you'll be hearing their side of what prison's like for them and how they got there. These are all going to be really interesting things, and I can't get to that point if I'm kicked out of prison, right? If I'm evicted from my home, there is no prisoner interviews, right? Because I won't be imprisoned. And I haven't even gotten to the point where I can show my cell, so I'm a little ways off from getting permission to interview other prisoners at this point. That's the way I look at it. I have to work on legal bit by bit, and I did make a win this week. This week I did have a hearing, and they gave me permission to show my feet on the metal grate floor, which in my shower cell, which is on the side of the cell that I'm not supposed to show, right? So we're moving around. We're at least getting that side of the cell now. There was some restrictions in the beginning. They said that I had to be in there fully clothed. They didn't want me naked on video, even though you're only seeing my feet. Later on, though, and I already made that video, the one that you see a clip from here, with me clothed in the shower cell without water, obviously. And later on, they rescinded that. They said, "We're just go ahead. You got the go ahead for a shower video. You just can't show any nudity," which I never had plans to show nudity anyway. So except for my bare feet, you're not going to see much more. Maybe my hairy legs, whatever. I wish I could. Yeah. Anyway, maybe I'll just shave my legs for the next video. Just kidding. Anyway, that was pretty cool. The first part of this week, it was the last days of Seven in my cell. So, and I was actually pretty happy to get him out of my cell. More to the point, I was happy to get his toes out of my mouth, because they were basically in my mouth 24/7 for an entire fucking week. And I was licking the soles of his feet clean every time he went to the recreation, which is what the rich prisoners get to go to. It's like a really nice place for them to hang out and stuff. And every time he came back, he drug his feet on the ground so they'd be extra filthy. And I get to lick his feet clean every day. I'm done with that. That's not happening anymore. And I got over it. There's no more Seven in my cell if I have to be the slave. I can't do it anymore. My tongue is permanently stained black at this point. It isn't, but I'm just trying to make a point. It's not what I want to do, right? So when he left, consolidated confinement withdrawals hit me hard. Like, I never really got over him, apparently, because he was in my cell. His feet were on me, my feet were on him the whole time, so it was satisfying that connection that I have in consolidated confinement. The social aspect was satisfied because he was in my cell 24 hours a day, well, other than the time that he went into recreation. And then the other times he kind of made me not want him in my cell. So anyway, Anyway, so I never really got over with the consolidated confinement withdrawals, and they hit me pretty hard. But luckily, Halloween was in full effect, so I had other things to occupy my time. They decorated the hallways so awesome, like commercial level stuff, really nice. And I talk about more of that in the daily vlogs too, about what they had there and stuff. It was just super cool. Lighting, fog machines, background noise, like ambient sounds and stuff. Super cool. Then came the feet tattoos. So, and I maintained that they weren't intended to be feet tattoos. They're just temporary tattoos. You could put them on any body part. And I'm sure prisoners were putting them on their sexual organs and stuff at some point, but they weren't showing that. Luckily, they were just focusing on their feet. So I think what happened is the first prisoners that put them on their feet and showed pictures, everybody just clicked in their mind, oh, well, they're feet tattoos, so that's where they go, right? So, and I'm not complaining. I like feet, and I got to see a lot of feet, okay? Probably every prisoner in the prison was putting these Halloween tattoos on their feet and posting pictures in the media channel, which is a really good change, because the media channel is dick pics, and more dick pics. But now they're feet pics. And also they were running a contest for decorating your cell. So I was getting a lot of pictures and video of prisoners' cells decorated in Halloween stuff. Super awesome. I really loved the media channel for that week. And it brought me back off of my consolidated confinement withdrawals. But on Halloween, it was all about to crash and burn, right? It was like the end of Halloween. And on top of this, a girl posted a picture of her feet in the media channel that looked identical to a prisoner's feet that I'm referring to as 63. That's the last two digits of his prisoner ID. They were his feet. At first I thought, oh my God, that's 63's feet. And then I realized the toenail polish and, it wasn't his feet. But it triggered me. It like knocked me into the time that I was chained to this prisoner. 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. Well, not only 3 days a week, actually. But I was chained to him for probably 9 to 10 days, 8 or 9 days, really. And over the 3 months that I was in consolidated confinement. And at the time, I didn't appreciate his feet. I have 2 categories for feet. Golden ratio, which is category 1, which is just aesthetically perfect, right? And this is from the soles. I had to create a new category for the tops of feet, which his match perfectly. He's got golden ratio tops of his feet, not the soles of his feet. The other category, category 2, is sex toys, right? Feet that work really well because they're flat arches and they're wide, so there's a lot more surface area to use for sexual reasons. Use your imagination. His feet landed squarely in, not squarely, I mean, now that I'm appreciating and remembering back, he had a lot of golden ratio elements going on there. They just didn't meet the golden ratio. First of all, let me just explain. I mean, I've already talked about this a lot, and I'm just going to say it. The soles of his feet are thick as leather, like really, really, really tough, like really thick. His arches of his feet weren't really rough, but they were, so they were still kind of soft, but they were thick. Like, this prisoner has never worn shoes in his entire life, and I'm not even kidding. He has really wide feet, and his parents just didn't buy him shoes that would fit him. Like, he lived in a really rural area, and they rarely left the house, so he just stayed barefoot his whole life. And his feet looked like it. You could tell they've never touched the insole of a shoe before. He did say he had flip-flops, like the rare times that they did go out to dinner, like they had a family night, like once a month they went to this cafe. He'd wear flip-flops from the car to the booth, and then they were off, and he actually left the cafe barefoot. Like, he would just carry his flip-flops out because they were too hard to put on, and he didn't, it's just pointless to put them on after they're leaving, right? What are they going to say? You can't have shoes in here as you're walking out. You can't be barefoot in here as you're walking out the door. I mean, yeah. So anyway, he had been barefoot his entire life. Like, the rare, like maybe an hour of his entire life, the soles of his feet have touched the soles of the flip-flops he had. So barefoot, whole life, adorable feet. The soles of his feet, he had really short feet. I wouldn't say tiny, but they're not long. I was like really tiny as far as length goes, really wide as far as every feet goes. And his toes were, I like short toes, but his were right on the edge of being too short. Like, there's nubs and then there's short toes, right? And they were right there. From the tops of his feet, perfect. Every way perfect. I mean, when I saw that girl's feet, the top of her feet, I just was instantly turned on because her feet were so perfect in every way as far as tops go. Toes, perfect. Perfectly rounded, perfectly shaped. Just awesome, right? The tops of his feet were that. The soles of his feet, flat arches, really tough soles, really thick. And his toes were really cute. And the one thing I really loved about his toes is that because his feet were wide, even though his toes were wide and they were just perfectly rounded, there was space between his toes. Like, when he was at rest, his toes were apart. Like, there was spacing between his toes. And that really kind of turns me on. It really turns me on when Seven spreads his toes apart. It's just, they look so much cuter when his toes are spread apart. And his 63's feet were like permanently spread apart, like naturally spread apart, not freakishly so, but just like in a really cute way, right? Anyway, so he also had an insane backstory that was it was off the hook, and he has physical evidence to prove it. Now, I've heard a lot of backstories from prisoners that were just like made up. Now, they're talking about their fantasy, right? Not their real life. So their fantasy background. So the 63 had physical evidence of his time of enslavement. So never wore shoes in his entire life. Chose to be enslaved at 12. Like, he started his slave training at 12 years old. At 16, he signed his first slave contract, and his slave contract restricts him from wearing shoes. So he wasn't wearing shoes anyway. He's going to be barefoot for the rest of his life. Then 18, he signed a more stricter contract, and him and his partner moved to a country house in another state, and he has been 100% fully enslaved there. The first thing he did was be stripped naked. His master stripped him naked and put heavy shackles and chains on his wrists and ankles and a collar around his neck. These are all connected by one chain, so there's a chain that goes from his ankles to his wrist to his collar, and that was left on 24 hours a day, and he is not allowed to wear clothes. Like, he has to remain naked the entire time. He's kind of breaking that rule, I guess, in consolidated confinement, because he was wearing the plastic underwear. Or he wasn't wearing the plastic underwear. He was wearing the paper gown, but not the plastic underwear. So technically, he's still kind of naked. I think it was mostly because some prisoners aren't very happy with that, and he wants everybody in the cell to be happy. He's very slave-oriented, which is really awesome. His master tortured the shit out of him, though. Like, he has marks. Like I said, he wasn't allowed to wear clothes. He was naked the entire time for 9 years. He's 27. He started his full enslavement at 18. And he has proof to prove this. His shackles were permanent. They were super glued and bolted in, and the heads were drilled out, sort of like they did with my shackles, except he didn't have his welded. And you can see a full body tan on him. He's got a full body. There's no tan lines except for his wrists and his ankles. And he tried to show me the tan line around his neck, but he has long hair, and it probably, it was probably shadowed most of the time by his head and stuff. So, but his ankles are pasty white, like paper white. His wrists paper white, and the rest of his body not super tan, not like working hard labor outdoors every day's tan, but he was in consolidated confinement for 7 months before I saw him, so his tan wore off, right? He also said the soles of his feet were a lot rougher from like walking on gravel paths and hard rocks, or like sharp rocks on paths and stuff like that. And he said that his feet weren't that tough before his full enslavement. Like, he had gone barefoot. His feet were tough, but not to the epic thickness that they are now. The soles of his feet, he could walk on the knife. He could walk on razor blades. It's just like his feet are tougher than shoes, in my opinion. And not only just the footprints along his feet, but the arches of his feet are just as thick. So I got obsessed with him, like, completely. Not while I was in consolidated confinement. Remember, I'm chained. My feet are chained to feet of prisoners 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 3 months. Right? It became a little mundane. I was really kind of focusing on Category 1 and Category 2. His was Category 2, so that they got used. And that was all there was to it. It was black and white in there. But afterwards, now I've been thinking about it. He deserved a lot more respect. His feet were I really appreciate him a lot more now. And I can't get a hold of him. So I'm freaking out, right? I'm in full consolidated confinement withdrawals. I want him in my cell, and I can't. I've been pounding his prisoner ID number over and over in the PCN, trying to get a hold of him. Nothing. So either he's still in consolidated confinement and he doesn't have access to a tablet at all, or he's out of prison.